On today's episode, we preview the second race in the Spartan US Championship Series, Spartan Alabama. Welcome to the OCR Report podcast, brought to you by the OCRReport.com. We are the only podcast to focus exclusively on the elite sport of obstacle course racing, from Spartan to Tough Mudder to the OCR World Championships, and wherever the elites are racing, we are there. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the OCR Report. Welcome back to the OCR Report. My name is Will Hicks. Thank you for listening. You are listening to, as far as I know, the only podcast about obstacle course racing. Isn't that surprising? You'd think there'd be more. You'd think there'd be like 15 of them with a new one starting every week. But no, just us. That's not true. There are several other podcasts about obstacle course racing, but this is the only one focused on the elite racing side of the sport. If you're looking for more OCR content, you should check out the other OCR Report podcasts, Overcome and Run and Obstacle Running Adventures, as well as World's Toughest Podcast, coming back soon. They're all about obstacle course racing. There's other shows, but they all come at it from a slightly different angle from each other. On today's show, Spartan Alabama preview. This weekend is the second race in the Spartan US Championship Series, and it will be great. We talk with Jack Bauer about the field and the athletes, and we both go on record with our predictions for the top 5 men and top 5 women. I don't usually like making predictions, but I feel pretty good about my men's first place finisher. Before we start, you can email me at willhicks@gmail.com. You can follow the show on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at the OCR Report. And if you're only going to follow one of those socials, you should follow Instagram. On Instagram, the OCR Report, we have race results as they happen. We have pictures from the races, and we have Carlo Piscatello on site at the big races doing Instagram stories and crushing it for us. I want to brag. I want to brag about Carlo for a minute. He was at the first Spartan US Series race a few weeks ago in Jacksonville, and his social coverage was so much better than anyone else. It wasn't even close. Very proud of our race coverage over on Instagram at the OCR Report. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can subscribe to our newsletter by texting the show at 22828. Text the word tough to the number 22828. And you can be a part of the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. All the cool kids are leaving a review. You should too. If you want to follow the race this weekend live, get to our Instagram. I'm telling you, worth it. Let's talk some news. Usually right here we would lead with race results, and we'll get there. But first, this weekend at the US Series race in Alabama, Spartan will not have a live stream. Usually Spartan has on Facebook a live stream of the race. You can tune in at 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning and watch the race as it happens. Spartan has said that they will not be having a live stream, but they will be airing it tape delayed on Bleacher Report the next day on Sunday. This is kind of interesting. Bleacher Report is more of a general sports site, like baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse. I don't know. So for Spartan to get their stuff on Bleacher Report is a win. That's a good thing. It's disappointing it's not live on Saturday, but you're only waiting a day. It airs on 10 a.m. Sunday morning, Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can find a link to that at our Facebook page, facebook.com/the Report. So I'm disappointed it's not live, but getting on Bleacher Report, that's a win. That's a good thing. So I don't know, 6 of 1, 6 of something else. This weekend there were Spartan races in Las Vegas, France, and atop the Greek Peak. Unfortunately, the Greek Peak is in New York, not in Greece. Let's talk Las Vegas first. Your Spartan Las Vegas Sprint winners were, for the men, in first, Veejay Jones in 28:10, in second, Cody Moat in 28:18, and in third, Hobie Call in 29:33. And for the women, from the Spartan Las Vegas Sprint, in first, Nicole Mericle in 34:08. In second, Sarah Edgley in 36:09. And in third, Evelyn Ruiz in 37:01. On Sunday in Las Vegas, Spartan held their middle length super race. In first place for the men at the super was Veejay Jones in 105:23. Second place was Aaron Newell in 107:30. And in third was Matt Rock in 108:27. For the women, from the Las Vegas Spartan Super, in first place was Nicole Mericle in 111:41. In second place was Evelyn Ruiz in 122:59. And in third was Casey Monroe in 125:47. There was a controversy in the women's super on Sunday. But before we talk about that, I want to highlight the season that Nicole Mericle and Veejay Jones have had so far. So far in 2019, Veejay Jones has run 6 races. Guess how many of those he's finished on the podium of those 6? All 6. Guess how many times he's won? All 6. Veejay has won the SoCal Super, SoCal Sprint, Arizona Super, Arizona Sprint, Las Vegas Super, and the Las Vegas Sprint. He is 6 for 6 with his biggest race of the year so far this weekend. He missed the first race in the US Championship Series in Jacksonville, but he is doing great this year. But as good as Veejay's doing, I want to talk about Nicole Mericle. If Nicole wins this weekend, she will be on track for the best start to a year, maybe ever. Here's the races Nicole has run so far this year. SoCal Super, SoCal Sprint, Arizona Super, Arizona Sprint, the US Series, Jacksonville Super, Las Vegas Sprint, and the Las Vegas Super. That's 7 races. Of those 7 races, how many podiums do you think she has? All 7. How many wins? 6 out of 7. The only time she didn't win was the SoCal Super, where she finished in second place to her friend that she brought with her to the race, Nil Rojas. Women who ride in Nicole Mericle's car are undefeated in 2019. So she's won 6 out of 7. But she's not just winning, she is dominating. She won the Arizona Sprint by 4 minutes. That's a 40-minute race, and she won it by, her gap was 4 minutes. She won the Arizona Super by 7 minutes. She won the Jacksonville US Series race by 7 minutes against the strongest field of the year, one of the strongest we'll have all year. Maybe that might have been the strongest field we're going to have until the North American Championships or even Tahoe. And that was Lindsay Webster behind her in second place. It wasn't some slouch. Lindsay Webster, the 2-time Spartan World Champion, Lindsay Webster. The 5-time OCRWC World Champion, Lindsay Webster. 4-time U.S. Champion, Lindsay Webster. Lindsay and Nicole are friends. But neither of them like to lose. And they both know how to win the big race. I really think Lindsay versus Nicole may be, I think it will be the first great rivalry in OCR. There was another disqualification controversy in Las Vegas this weekend. 2 women on Sunday went off course and did not run the full race. They finished in second and third before they were disqualified. There's no reason to think it was intentional, and multiple people told me the course markings were not ideal on Sunday. I'm going to read this from the OCR Discord page that Josh Chase runs at bit.ly/OCR Discord. Sunday Super saw the second and third place female elites, Sarah Edgley and Timmy Braun, disqualified for going off course, which is terrible, right? They finished in second and third on the podium. But due to that disqualification, the 4th and 5th place women moved up onto the podium. Here's what Spartan needs. This weekend in Alabama, here's what Spartan needs. They need a good race. No disqualifications, no shenanigans, no controversy, just a good race, close finishes, good competition, a clean, drama-free race. And that, I don't root for people. I like all the athletes, right? I'm friends with some of them. I don't root for them. What I root for is a good race. I root for good stories and good things to talk about on the podcast. That's what I am rooting for this weekend. Drama-free, a clean race. The Greek Peak Winter Sprint was also held last weekend. Your winners are, for the women, in first, Jareen Klingberg in 49.43. In second, Tiffany Palmer in 49.48. And in third, Heather Golnick in 52.48. For the men at the Greek Peak Winter Sprint, in first, Joshua Reed in 40.41. In second, Samuel Herbert in 41.59. And in third, Tyler McCready in 43.27. Our last race results come from France. France. Not a fan, France. I've been to France. Not my jam. My wife loved it. Your mileage may vary, listener. France held the first Stadion race of 2019 this weekend. The race was held in Stade de France, just north of Paris. It is the 8th largest stadium in Europe. It has hosted World Cup finals, and it will host the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2024 Olympics. It sounds like an amazing stadium. Counterpoint, it's in France. Your women's winners for the French Stadion are, in first, Jezebel Creamer in 41.42. In second, Anouk Garnier in 43.54. And in third, Olivia Skolkik in 45.15. For the men, in first, Jeremy Gachet in 32.39. In second, Ryan Kent in 32.52. And in third, Farid Fbum in 32.56. Ryan Kent was on track to win the race until he missed his spear throw. He was able to salvage a second place finish even with the missed spear, though. Well done, Ryan. Good job going over there and showing them what's what. And congratulations to all of our podium winners at all of our races this weekend. One last piece of news. There's a new OCR television show debuting on March 27th, produced by LeBron James. Yes, that LeBron James.
I'll give you a game. Run. Run as hard as you can. Because you're about to be chased by a world-class athlete.
There have been lots of TV shows about obstacle course racing or featuring obstacle course racing, but this one has a lot of familiar faces like Spartan World Champion and World's Toughest Mudder 100-miler Robert Killian.
I was a member of the U.S. Army Green Berets. I've got the military background, the obstacle technique. This is what I'm the best at. $1 Million Mile is unlike anything else, and I'm going to go out there and defend it.
Also, the women's 2018 TMX champion, Emma Chapman.
There is no runner that is going to beat me. I'm faster than them. I'm stronger than them.
How about that young fellow I was just talking about, Veejay Jones?
At the age of 16, I won my first Spartan race. That's the record for the youngest race winner in history. If you want someone that's going to protect $1 million, I'm your guy.
They have TMX star and Spartan Stadion racer extraordinaire Orla Walsh.
I'm from Vermont, and I was a Division I soccer, track, and cross-country athlete. I'm an animal on the field. I've got tenacity and grit. These runners don't stand a chance.
They have one of the hottest, fastest, newest racers on the Spartan scene, Rebecca Hammond.
I'm a fourth-year medical student at Harvard. I'm an All-American in the 1,500 meters. It might be easy to underestimate me, but you might be surprised.
There's also one of the fastest women in the field, Faye Stenning.
I'm addicted to pushing myself. I'm addicted to pain, and I don't think that anything's gonna faze me. I'm great at running, climbing, jumping. No one's gonna win that $1 million.
They have the nemesis of Hunter McIntyre, Isaiah Vidal.
I've won over 30-plus races. I know the runner gets a head start, but I do this full time, so you're stepping in my ground.
Oh, speaking of, they also have Hunter McIntyre.
Probably my greatest advantage is I'm just devilishly handsome. Pound for pound, the strongest athlete in the world when it comes to running. You can't keep up with me when it comes to doing strength work, and you can't keep up with me when it comes to footwork either.
Hunter, what would you say your greatest advantage is?
Probably my greatest advantage is I'm just devilishly handsome.
Hunter, if you had to rate your handsomeness on a scale of 1 to 10, how handsome would you rate yourself?
I'm just devilishly handsome.
Would you describe yourself as more angelic or something else?
I'm just devilishly handsome.
Hunter is the 2-time champion of TMX. He won Steve Austin's Broken Skull Ranch more times than I can count. He won World's Toughest Mudder once. He's won multiple Spartan races. If Hunter is chasing you down and you only have a 2-minute head start, I would not feel good about your chances. Hunter, what technique are you going to use to catch these guys?
I'm just devilishly handsome.
The $1 Million Mile premieres on March 27th on CBS. Check your local listings or ask your mother what channel is CBS. Let's read some iTunes reviews.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars. 5 stars.
5 stars.
Our first review comes from Australia. From Australia, Cameron Perth writes, 5 stars. As someone just getting into OCR and hoping to do well in the future, I love the elite-focused content and race coverage. 5 stars from Australia. Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate it. Good luck with your new racing career. Hope you do well. If you'd like to leave a review like Cameron Perth, you can do so also. Just open the Purple Podcast app on your iPhone or iOS device and search for the OCR Report. Click our logo and then scroll down to click Write a Review. And I will read it on a future episode. Thank you for leaving those reviews. I sincerely, I appreciate it. You are very kind. It's time to talk Spartan, Alabama with Jack Bauer. Let's go to the phones. Jack Bauer, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Will. Looking forward to the second big race of the year this weekend.
The second race in the Spartan US Championship Series this weekend is in Alabama. Jack, how do the men stand as far as their scores going into the second race?
Yeah, right now the top 5, Ryan Kempson, after his breakout performance in Jacksonville. Ryan Atkins is in second. He just lost the sprint finish to Ryan Woods, but obviously Woods got pushed back. We talked about that last episode. Third place is Ryan Kent. Fourth is Kirk DeWint. And sitting in fifth is Tyler Veerman. So some notable names outside the top 10 at the moment with Robert Killian, Ryan Woods due to his penalty, and you've got so many other podium contenders there as well. So it's going to be a great battle. People definitely want to get into those top 5 due to the point distribution.
You know, you mentioned the point distribution. It's not just 1 point separating first and second place. It's 36 points. The guys that are out of the top 5 right now, do they have a shot to climb back in this?
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at how deep the field is, you had from Kirk DeWint, he finished in an hour 5:05, and if you add say 3 or 4 minutes to his time, you had about 10 more finishers. So it's a really, really tight field overall. A lot of guys could have moved up. Bracken might move up. Johnny Lunalima, Robert Killian. It's amazing that he didn't get top 5 as well. And Ryan Wood, he's going to be a contender for top 5 again, assuming that there isn't some Trustgate incident again.
You mentioned Trustgate with Ryan Woods. He was disqualified, and then they undisqualified him, but they gave him a 5-minute penalty, so he finished in 12th place. How do you think Ryan Woods will respond this weekend?
Well, if you look at the weather for Alabama, it's kind of strange that they're doing it in Alabama, but considering most of the previous years have always had courses on mountains, but I kind of like it. It gives you a chance to open up and just see some fast running instead of just grinding up a mountain. But if you look at the weather forecast, it's going to be really crappy the rest of the week in Alabama. It looks like a bunch of scattered thunderstorms and rain and just pretty high humidity overall. I looked at it. I've got it pulled up right here. Friday night, or most of Friday, it's 10-15% chance of precipitation. And then 11 o'clock rolls around, it's over 90%. And it's going to stay raining until like 3 a.m. the morning of the race. So that means that there are going to be some seriously slippery obstacles out there. You saw what happened last time in Jacksonville with the dew, everyone failing beater. A lot of women were failing that. And just in general, monkey bars are harder just when everything's wet. So I think that might wreak some havoc in the race again this weekend.
So sloppy obstacles, probably some sloppy mud running through the mud.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think that helps in the men's field?
Well, you remember Chicago last year. That was a really, really muddy course, and Ryan Woods ended up winning it. And then guess who was second? Veejay Jones. He's had a pretty good year so far. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, he's won every race he's entered, and the only race that he hasn't won was the first race in the US Series that he did not run in.
That's correct. And even though he didn't race in Jacksonville, it's not like he's dodging competition. Earlier in the year, Ryan Kent showed up. Kirk DeWitt showed up. He's beat both of them. This past weekend, he beat Hobie Call and Cody Moat in the same race. I know Hobie obviously isn't at his world championship winning form at the moment, but he's still Hobie Call. The guy could probably sit in a couch and just eat chips for a year and beat 99% of people in the elite field. But that Veejay has just been on a roll. He's got everything dialed in with Richard Diaz and his running mechanics, and he's super confident. So just based on how he performed in a muddy Chicago course last year, and just how he's been undefeated this year so far, taking down some big names out, even though he didn't go to Jacksonville. I think he's going to have a great race in Alabama.
Let's talk about Veejay for a minute. He's young. He's one of the youngest. He's really the youngest top level elite that we see week in, week out. He's won tons of races this year. He's done good in the past, but he's not necessarily been, the best or been the man in the past. What do you think 2019 holds for Veejay?
Yeah, honestly, endurance sports, just like running is an endurance sport, so it takes time to really get to that next level in terms of being. Most of these races are an hour and a half. That's kind of like you're running a half marathon if you're an elite runner. So it takes time to develop that aerobic capacity through the years. So I think he's kind of finally reaching that point where it's no longer an issue of just being too young and not having the years under his belt of training. And I really think that this is the year he's going to have a breakthrough. I mean, he's been on the scene. He got like top 10 or top 15 at the Warrior Dash World Championship when he was like 15 years old. I remember he beat Ryan Atkins. He beat just several other really good names back then. And I mean, he's been on everyone's radar forever. I think he's the youngest podium or just winner overall at a Spartan race in history. And so he's not really been sneaking up on people. We've been aware of who Veejay is, but I think he's really put it together this year. And he's clearly, the results are speaking for themselves, and he's ready to just dominate everybody who comes in his way.
Before we talk about the women, give us one more man we should keep an eye on this weekend.
Well, I don't think that the Ryan Kempson secret is, or Ryan Kempson's not a secret anymore. So obviously he's the guy to watch. I think he's going to have a phenomenal race, and he's been in a couple podcasts since then. And all he does is talk about how he just loves sloppy condition and crappy terrain for just bad footing, and that's where he excels. And so I think that this has Ryan Kempson written all over it again, and you saw what he did in Jacksonville. He has the confidence, he's fit, and he's already beaten everybody before this year. So I could totally see him repeating again. Tyler Veerman, I would have loved to have name dropped him this week, because he's kind of been on my radar on a lot of the mountain courses over the past couple of years. He almost got a top 10 at Tahoe, but missed his spear there. But he finished fifth last US, or the first US Series race of the year. And I had that prediction contest. 0% of people picked him. Another guy who no one picked, but I think is going to have a great race, he got seventh, was Johnny Luna Lima. He just kind of knows how to run just the perfect race. If you look at him historically, he's done a couple times at Tahoe. He got third at the European Championship, and he just knows how to pace. He runs the best splits, always runs a negative split, which means that he has a better second half than his first half, and he just doesn't go out too fast and then just blow up. But He's living in Colorado right now, it looks like, and I guarantee you that he's got some really good fitness and confidence going into this race after 7th place, just about 20 seconds behind Robert Killian last time and just narrowly missing top 5. So I think Johnny Lima is going to have a really good race as well.
One guy whose name we haven't even mentioned is Ryan Atkins.
Yeah, what's he ever done though? But I mean, he's about a sure lock for top 5 as it gets, and I would throw Ryan Woods in that as well. But obviously, unforeseen circumstances happened last time. But he realistically ran the equivalent of a top 3 race overall. But yeah, Ryan Atkins, don't count him out. He might not have been logging running miles over the winter, but he just showed up to Jacksonville. He's got just so much fitness through the years, and no matter what, he's probably got as much grit as anybody on the course, and he just knows how to compete. So without a doubt, I've got him in the top 3.
Okay, the last thing before we talk about the women, let's call our shot for this weekend, because I feel good about somebody. I want to see your thoughts. Who are your top 3 men this weekend, if you had to pick the podium?
Oh, you only want to do top 3?
You can do top 5. I feel pretty good about my top 3. But go for it.
Yeah. So let me just plug that we've got that prediction contest going on again at Yancey Camp. So if everybody else wants to kind of play along and just be like, oh yeah, I knew that this guy was gonna pull off the surprise win, or this woman's gonna have a crazy prove it. Just enter the contest. We've got like $400 a beat a lead and a couple pair of Gooder sunglasses for the winner every single week. There's no harm in entering, and it's awesome to kind of see where people are predicting. But yeah, so I guess I'll go on the record with who I'm going to predict on that. First, I think Ryan Woods is going to win. I just think he's going to he just wants to put Jacksonville in the past, and he's always done well at muddy courses. I think second, Veejay, he's going to ride the momentum of a great year so far. Third, it's really tough to leave Ryan Atkins off, but I think third's going to go to Ryan Kempson. Just the uneven terrain, the sloppy terrain, and just riding the confidence from Jacksonville. He's going to have a great performance again. My fourth pick, I would put Ryan Atkins just because he's Mr. Consistent. And fifth, I'm going to throw a surprise name in there. I think Bracken Crocker is going to have a great performance.
I was looking at Bracken. Okay.
Oh, so I stole your thunder?
No. Well, no, you stole my thunder with Ryan Woods. I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, so let's go one more time. You said
that's not really a surprise. Most people are picking him in this contest so far.
I think Ryan Woods is going to win, and I think he's going to be like Nicole Mericle at Jacksonville.
You think he's going to win by 7 minutes?
I think
hour race?
Maybe not 7 minutes, but like 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. Like, I think he is going to be running not angry, but like motivated. Like, you know, when you're mad and like when I get mad and like I go running, like I can run like the wind, right? It's not the wind. It's the really slow wind. But
yeah, it's a light breeze.
I think Ryan Woods is going to be like you know what? I am a great athlete, and he is. And I think he's gonna feel pressure to prove that, and I think he's gonna dominate this weekend.
And if he gets the win, that's 300 points, and that kind of averages out to like, what's that, 492. So he's in like the 240s. That's basically like he got third place at both races at that point.
Yeah, that'll put him in the top 3, top 4. Maybe.
That'll help him a whole lot in the points series. So I think, I totally agree. I think that he's got a vendetta against that penalty, and he's gonna crush people.
Second place, I think Ryan Kempson is going to want to show that last time was not a fluke. And even if he doesn't win, even if Woods wins, I think finishing second or third for Kempson this weekend shows that he's breaking through this year. This will be a big year for him.
Let me just add that on Ryan Kempson. So last week when I had a few weeks ago when we had the initial contest, Ryan Kempson was the only person to vote for himself in the top 3, and he voted for himself at second. This week he's already voted. He picked himself to win again.
Good for him, man. Good for him.
I know. Why wouldn't you? He literally just took down everybody. This course seems to be fitting like all of his strengths again. He's got all the confidence in the world. He's crazy fit. I don't blame him at all.
Ryan Atkins is my choice for third place. Atkins, we always think of him as like a really strong runner in the mountains, which he obviously is, right? But he has the aerobic engine of just a machine. His heart, like, if you were to like, I don't know.
I think he has 2 hearts.
Right. He's just, anyway, like it was just like, it's a muscle. Anyway, So I think Ryan Atkins in third place. Fourth place, I think it'll be Veejay. I think he wants to show up strong. And then fifth place, I was looking at Crocker, or I was looking at Robert Killian.
Crocker. Pretend he's like Betty Crocker.
What did I say?
Cracker.
Oh, Bracken, I apologize. So either Bracken or Robert Killian for fifth. And since you picked Bracken, I'm probably going to go with Killian. I'll pick Killian for fifth place.
And that's not a bad pick at all. I think Killian, he's probably raced 70 plus times, and he's only had like 2 or 3 finishes ever where he wasn't on the top 5. So, and I think before last year, he never had a U.S. Series or a World Championship event where he wasn't on the top 3 podium. So, guy's Mr. Consistent. I think that he might be a little bit rusty right now, but once the end of the year rolls around, he's going to be the normal Killian that everyone's expecting.
For me, Killian is a lot like Ryan Atkins in that I hate to pick against them. Especially when you're out there, you see them in person sometimes and you see what they're capable of. And I hate to pick. I feel bad even picking Killian in fifth, but he got sixth last week.
I left him off. Like I feel terrible about it because it's like, how can you leave the guy off? But I think that just given this early in the season and what we saw last time, I don't know. I just, it's really tough. That fifth position is just going to be a battle, and I'm pumped to watch it on delay though, because I'm not waking up that early.
Let's talk about the women. What's the status of the women point wise going into the race?
Yeah, so Nicole Mericle is basically just destroying almost everybody that she faces, male or female. What'd she get? 13th overall in Jacksonville.
She had 12th overall until Ryan Woods got put in 12th. So
12, yeah.
So 13th.
So the unbelievable performance. She ended up winning by close to 7 minutes over Lindsay, and Lindsay's no slouch. The 2-time defending world champion. She's pretty good. But yeah, and then the surprise of the week last time, besides Nicole's just utter dominance, was Rose Wetzel making a comeback, and she got third place, just narrowly out-sprinting Rebecca Hammond, who I think everybody knows that she's legit at this point. And then rounding out the top 5 was Alyssa Hawley in 5th place. She was about 24 seconds back of Rose and Rebecca, and it was a really good showing for Alyssa. She kind of had a subpar 2018, but she's really starting the year off strong. She was ahead of Rhea, Nell Rojas, Tia Reagan, and Faye by 4 to 6 minutes, so it was a really good showing by Alyssa.
The second, we talked about how Nicole was 7 minutes in front of second place. Second through fifth place were separated by 1 minute and 4 seconds.
1 minute 4.
So like Alyssa, one missed obstacle by anyone in front of her, she could have been in second, third, fourth place.
And it sounds like Lindsay burpeed. Rose, I think, was one of the few women besides Nicole in like the top 20 or 25 who didn't do any burps. So I think that Rose ran the best possible race that she could have at that point and just capitalized where other people screwed up. So, I mean, it was, like you said, top 2 to 5 were separated by barely a minute. That's a really, really good battle.
We talked about it a little bit last time, but Rose Wetzel finishing on the podium, that's a big story. Like, she's been gone for 1.5 years, 2 years, and her first race back, a big race, and she finishes on the podium.
Yeah, I was really excited to see her back there. And in all honesty, it just kind of seemed like she was never really going to reach her old potential, or not potential, but her old status as one of the true contenders. It seemed like the new guard with Nicole, Lindsay, Alyssa, Rhea, Faye, dominant early on, and April D, some of those other names. But it was really good to see Rose come back. And obviously, having a child is going to take some time to recover from and get your fitness back. So a ton of credit to her. That was really impressive. And I'm sure that a lot of other moms and female athletes out there are really inspired.
Last race, Rhea Coble finished in 7th place. What do you think about that finish?
I think it was kind of right around where you would have expected it on a course like this. Rhea's like a goat in the mountains, so a really flat Jacksonville course. I don't know if it really suited to her strengths, but I guarantee you once Big Bear or Utah or one of these other mountainous courses happens later in the year, you're going to definitely see Rhea basically top 5 every time at those kind of races. But yeah, I wasn't really surprised with I guess I was surprised that Rose snuck back into the top 5, but seeing Nicole and Lindsay and Rebecca and everyone always gets about Leanne Wastany at 6th. That's kind of her perpetual place, like all the time. Even last year, she was always that first person out of the top 5, almost always. So Really good performance by her as well. But I think that Rhea kind of finished right around where you expect her to on a course like that.
And another surprise for me last time was Faye Sinning in 10th place. We're used to seeing Faye on the podium.
Yeah, that was definitely one of her worst performances statistically through the years. She normally, if she loses, last year, I forget the numbers off the top of my head, but when she finished a race, she was always within like less than 2% of the winner. This race in Jacksonville, she was 16% off the winner. So something clearly happened. I don't know how many burpees she did, but things did not go right for the normal Faye they were used to seeing.
Can anyone catch Nicole Mericle?
Well, did you hear her talk to Matt B. Davis?
I did not.
She's got confidence, and why wouldn't you when you basically took down the entire best women's field in the sport by almost 7 minutes and defeated almost every single guy who just is a normal podium contender as well. So she is in a different league at the moment, and I don't know what the course necessarily is going to be like for Alabama. It looks like Steve Hammond's designing it, so he's going to go through some nasty terrain. It's going to be muddy because of that rain that we talked about. I'm going to assume at worst it's rolling hills, but it's probably going to be pretty flat since it's Alabama, especially compared to the later races in the year, and that is all up Nicole's upper wheelhouse.
Do you think the mud, does it slow Nicole down a little bit? Does it give Lindsay and Alyssa Hawley a chance to catch her?
It's going to affect everybody else as well, and Nicole's just dominant at this point, and she's just, she's just miles ahead of the field at the moment, and I just definitely think the same thing's going to happen in Alabama.
Let's talk about our picks for the women. Who do you think is going to win the race?
Well, Nicole. That's the obvious one. So right now I released that survey probably 5-6 hours ago, and we have like 40-50 picks so far. 2 people have not picked Nicole to win so far, and those 2 people picked Lindsay to win and Nicole second. So basically everybody and their mom is expecting Nicole to win again. Obviously we're not putting like how much do you think they're going to win by, how close of a finish is going to be by, but the betting definitely favors Nicole to repeat.
Do you think Lindsay can stay in second place?
It's crazy. Just a year ago, not even a year ago, like 6 months ago, Lindsay was just the talk of the OCR world, just having an unreal season in 2018, and she looked unbeatable. No one was even close, and now Nicole's basically just one-upping her. But let's not forget who Lindsay is. I totally see her finishing second in this race again, and honestly, like I don't know if she can have the upset. I think Nicole's just in a better fitness level at the moment, so I don't see Lindsay catching her, but I think that Lindsay's kind of like Ryan Atkins, where she just brings it on race day, and it's almost a lock to finish top 2.
What about Rose? Could she get that third spot on the podium again?
Definitely. Just look at the weather conditions, and like I said, I think that she was one of the rare women who didn't do any burp. I could totally see her being top 5 again. I don't have her third again, but I definitely could see her having a really strong performance again.
All right, Jack, give me your top 5.
All right. First, Nicole. Second, Lindsay. Third, I think Becca Hammond's going to put it together and have a really good finish with Lindsay. Fourth, if she can get these burpees cut down, I'm going to go with Tia Reagan. You saw what she did for the first half of that race and then just kind of fell apart, but I'm hoping she makes some adjustments, but her running, she's the only woman who can really keep up with Nicole besides my 5th pick, Nell Rojas, assuming that she goes. I believe I saw a post that said she was going to go again, so hopefully I'm not wrong on that. She was about 5 minutes back of Alyssa for Nell ended up finishing 8th and Alyssa was 5th. So that's a pretty decent gap, but I think that if she can cut down on some of these burpees, and clearly as a 2:31 marathoner, is really going to favor her against a lot of the other women in the field, but it's going to come down to who will not do burpees this race, because that seems to be the biggest differentiator during these wetter courses. So those are my top 5.
So you got Nicole, Lindsay, Rebecca Hammond, Tia Reagan, Nell Rojas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's what we need to do. I need to go first next time because it looks like I'm copying you. I wasn't going to pick your 4th and 5th, but it's kind of like American Idol. Like if Simon goes first, like why would you have, like you don't need anyone else, right?
Yeah, well, I already picked Nicole, so you can't pick her.
Yeah, right. So I think Nicole, absolutely. Now here's my deal with Nicole. I think she's going to win this weekend. But I think after this weekend, when the courses start becoming more mountainous, we get into Utah, we get into Big Bear, I think Lindsay's going to win out the rest of the way. So
that's what I was kind of hinting at with Rhea early on. This is really, really into Nicole's strengths, but not to say that she's not a good mountain runner, because she really is also. But I think that the gap is going to close the later the season happens, just based on the types of races that happen later in the year.
So I think Nicole Mericle. I think second will be Lindsay Webster, and in third I think Rebecca Hammond. And Rebecca Hammond, I think she's going to do great. This weekend I think she's going to do great the rest of the year. I think next year is going to be Rebecca Hammond's Ryan Kempson year. Like, I think,
is she going to be in med school though?
Oh, that whole Harvard thing. Yeah.
Why would you want to be a doctor at Harvard when you can squeak by on obstacle racing earnings?
Yeah, maybe they can be. She can explain, like, hey, I know this is Harvard and everything, but I need to go to Alabama to run a race.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For next year is next year. But for this weekend, I think Rebecca Hammond.
We're barely in 2019, so
right. Yeah. I'm not going to start breaking 2020 races yet. I guess I shouldn't.
No. Absolutely.
Fourth place. I still haven't seen Tia Reagan race in person. I saw her.
She's only done a couple, so very, very few have.
I'm going to go with Alyssa Hawley in fourth place, and then I'm going to go with Rose in fifth place. And if I had to pick a spoiler,
I think if it comes down to wet obstacles, those would probably be my sixth and seventh place finishers. I think they're just going to miss out on it, but I could look stupid after, because Rose and Alyssa just got top 5 in Jacksonville. But yeah, they don't fail obstacles, so those are smart picks.
Now, if Faye Stinning finished 10th, we already said this. She finished 10th last time. If she finished in like fourth place or maybe even third place, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Like, that would not shock me. I just haven't had a hard time picking her this weekend just because of the 10th place last time.
Yeah, how crazy it is that she's a sleeper pick now,
right? And it was 2 years ago when she and Lindsay were like first and second every single race, it seemed like?
Well, last year, 2017, she had a rough year. 2016, she was right back and forth with Lindsay all the time. And last year, 2018, she had arguably the second best U.S. season. So it wasn't too long ago where Lindsay and Faye were right on top.
So, Jack, what are some of the things we should watch for this weekend?
Yeah, I just want to make a prop bet. Who do you think is going to win by a bigger margin, Nicole or Ryan Woods?
Ooh. I think overall, man. Now, you know what? I was going to say overall, I think the men's field is stronger, but that's not the case. But I think the second place man will do better than will finish closer than the second place woman.
I totally agree.
So, and not to slag off anybody. They're all beat me standing still, but that's a good question. I think Woods is going to win, and I think it's going to be a margin, like 3, 4, 5 minutes. But I think Lindsay's
that's a ton. I don't think that there's going to be a victory on the men's side by more than a minute and a half. That's Ryan Kempson and Veejay. I don't think that they're going to let Woods get that far away.
Do you think we're going to have another? We had 2 photo finishes in Jacksonville. Do you think we're going to have another one of those this weekend?
Well, I'm sure if you look at like 5,000 people, there's going to be one. But are you talking?
I don't care about 197th place. I mean, like second, third, fourth.
But they need their points. Yeah, I would say top 5. I would say you'll see at least one within the top 10 on either side. I don't know both sides. I don't know if it's going to be second and third again, but I definitely think that with how the points are distributed, people are going to really find that urge to, give it everything they've got right at the line instead of just coasting in and just settling for another place.
I need to say something, a personal note to the man and woman who finish in 197th place. I do care about you, and you are loved. But for our purposes, we're probably not going to talk about you next week.
Yeah, I'm sure they're pretty offended. I'm actually looking that up right now. So the 192nd place finisher last year was Daniel Rendon.
Daniel, I'm so
I think
sorry.
He wants an apology.
Daniel, I apologize.
Yeah, I'm sure he was expecting a shout out on the. He was 192nd overall, elite plus age group combined. So yeah, so there he goes. He gets his shout out on the air.
Well done, Daniel. You earned it.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, last thing before we go. What happened this last weekend on the race course?
Yeah, Ryan Kent, he actually flew over to Paris and did a stadium race in France. So that was kind of cool seeing Americans go over to a different country, because usually you only see international racers come to the U.S. for Tahoe, but you don't really get that head-to-head comparison. But Ryan Kent, he was winning for a good deal of the race and then missed his spear throw. Had to do 15 burpees because it's a stadium race, and apparently he just redlined too early, and he just tried basically sprinting to catch up to the people who passed him while they hit their spear. And he ended up losing by about like 15 seconds to Jeremy Veejay, who's a pretty good racer in Europe. He won a winter race earlier this year. And yeah, so Ryan ended up getting second. He had basically a sprint finish with another guy, and it was apparently a really, really cool stadium to race in. I watched some of the highlights, but it was kind of surprising. You would have thought Ryan Kent, who has got second at the Dallas Stadium before, he's placed really well in the Stadium Series historically, that he wouldn't just blow away the field. So even without those missed burpees, I don't know, he probably only would have won by 20, 30 seconds without that. So it's pretty cool to see how the European competition stacked up as well.
That's awesome to know that it's not just a U.S. thing. Like they're running over there and they're running for real and they're strong athletes.
Absolutely. And I mean, Johnny Luna Lima, who's a dark horse pick for some people this week in Alabama, he got third at the European Championship last year in Morzine. So if he's basically he got seventh, he was like 20 seconds behind Robert Killian, and a couple people beat him in Europe. You know that there are some really, really good races over there. And obviously Albin and some of the other big names, Albert Soler, Zuzana Kokomova, like you've got some really, really talented international racers. And it's just really cool to see mid-season as opposed to all at once at the end of the year to see how they stack up.
All right. Jack, any last thoughts? Anything you want to plug before we go?
Yeah, so just like I was mentioning earlier, just get your picks in. It's really cool to see how people's predictions change. Last week, barely, I think it was 1 out of every 8 people was picking Ryan Kempson, and now this time he's got like 95% of picks in the top 5. No one was picking Rose last time. She had about 2% of picks, and now after less than a day, she's already probably 60-70% of ballots. She's on that. And Tyler Veerman, who had 0 but got 5th in Jacksonville, he's got plenty of votes as well. So just head on over to Yancey Camp, look for the trivia and rankings tab, and then there should be a pretty easy link to fill in the survey on surveymonkey.com, and then just all you got to do is list your top 5 men, top 5 women, and fill in your name and just how we can contact you if you win the awesome prizes by Beat Elite and Gooder. So just I'd love to see how people stack up.
YanceyCamp.com. Jack, how can people follow you on social media?
I would say go to Instagram, Jack_Bauer_OCR.
Jack Bauer, any last thoughts before we go?
This is going to be an awesome race. I will not be waking up early because I don't do that on the weekend to watch it live, but I'm going to kind of do what you did last time and just have a blackout of all social media so that I can watch it and not have any spoilers.
Jack Bauer, thanks much.
All right, thanks, Will.
Special thanks to Jack Bauer for appearing in this episode. Well done, Jack. Good luck to everyone racing this weekend. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and I will talk with you soon. Go spend time with someone you love.
I'm just devilishly handsome.